Alright, I don't want to brag, but here's a review of two new Schrade knives that don't come out until February. And this is pretty much the first review of them anywhere. It is something that probably sounds cool on YouTube, and is most likely not high on the list of things to brag about. I think it actually falls a few steps below bragging about having decent cholesterol levels, or not hitting any stoplights on the way home from work. And I guess just because I make fun of it for being a weird internet brag, I guess it still kind of is a brag, huh? Oh well. In February, or around those parts, Schrade will release two new fixed blades called the SCHF56 and SCHF56L. You might remember a few weeks ago I reviewed the Frontier series, the SCHF51 and SCHF52, or I maddeningly batoned with them. That's a tricky word to pronounce. And was able to get a thumbs down within 5 minutes of posting the video, which is a new record for my channel, I'm pretty sure. Anyway, these blades are like the more reasonably sized cousins for people who like a good, sturdy, fixed blade for things other than batoning. As if knives were made for any other purpose, am I right, guys? Just like the 51 and 52, these two murdered out blades have a black TPE or thermoplastic polymer handle, a black Teflon-esque coating on their blade, and the word Schrade written on the blade, so you don't confuse it with other brands of knives you own, I assume. The knives feature a drop point hollow ground full tang blade made from 1095 high carbon steel, which, if you'll remember, can rust a bit easier than other stainless steels if not well cared for, or if you like leaving your knives outside in the weather overnight and then blaming other members of your family for doing it. Because no one's ever done that before, right? Okay, so what's the main difference between these two knives? Basically the blade size and the weight. The 56 has a blade just under 3.5 inches, and the 56L has a blade just over 4 1/3 inches. The spine thickness and handle on both knives are pretty much the same. Anyway, here are the dimensions, including the overall length, blade size, the cutting edge, the handle lengths, the handle thickness, and the spine thickness for both knives. Then, of course, there's the weight with and without the sheath. Alright, so the sheath, which is made from a no-frills nylon and has a place for a ferro rod for fire starting, or at least making you appear to be some sort of survivalist. And as long as you keep the ferro rod in the sheath and don't take it out, no one will ever know if you've used it to start a fire or not. The belt loop has no Velcro, and you have to remove your belt to loop it through. And if you hate belts, you'll have to dream up another way to carry it with you. I don't know, how about some paracord, right? Inside the nylon, there's a plastic guide that the blade goes in, which is probably the most boring sentence in the English language after the answer you give someone when they ask you what you did last night, which, by the way, is watch some knife reviews on YouTube. Okay, so this is the part where I cut up stuff and offer opinions, whether you ask for them or not. Much like the earlier Schrade knives I reviewed, these are budget-friendly outdoor utility knives, which may sound a bit stupid to people who like spending their entire allowance on karambit blades. Karambit? They share a ton in common with the other Schrade Frontier knives I recently reviewed, like the coating, the cosmetics, the blade steel, and blade grind. Not the size though, remember the dimensions are pretty different, in case you've had your eyes closed through the entire video or didn't watch the other one. The 56 and 56L, and your choice between the two really comes down to blade size and the balance. Since both have a bit of heft in the rear, seriously, I don't think I'll ever get tired of that one. The 56L with the longer blade, while heavier, seems to balance the weight a bit more between the cutting edge and the handle, whereas most of the weight in the regular 56 is just in the handle. Don't expect a moral lightness with these, unless you're an optimist, right? But you can see when removing the handle, the rear section isn't milled out. And although these really are just smaller version of the Frontier knives I reviewed a few weeks ago, you can expect them to hold up to a beating or a licking. a verb which probably changes depending on what part of the country you're from. And if you're from another country, a knife taking a licking may sound like a particular type of video not currently allowed on YouTube. So while I've been droning on for several minutes, you'll notice I've been performing what is known by knife scientists as the log test, which is also probably the name of some band frat initiation pledge somewhere too. It's designed to carefully boil the blood of certain people on the internet who would wish you would just pick up a damn axe for once. Seriously, that's what they're for. You look like a moron. These knives are small and not meant to chop through logs, so I decided to. Well, it's pretty obvious they're outclassed after 5 minutes of this fool's errand. Well, it's actually really evident from the beginning, but I didn't have to tell you that. On the other hand, I just wanted to beat on a piece of wood for a while, which, depending on the context, is also not a type of video allowed on YouTube. Alright, so what about that ferro rod, huh? Should I try it this time? Let's see if I can get a fire going with some random dampish grass I find lying on the ground. Again, just trying to abuse the blade and not showing you how to survive. Unless, of course, you'd like to know how to wake up freezing and crying in the middle of night, lost in the woods. Because then it's an awesome tutorial. Alright, so a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and alright, a small fire that fizzles right out right after I started it. Which, you know, you probably could have guessed. So let me check that one off. Like those other knives, no edge rolling, blade chipping, name calling was evident during testing or my review. And if you like this review or think I desperately need a damn haircut, support me by subscribing to my channel, commenting on my video, liking my videos, and maybe just smiling the next time someone cuts you off in traffic instead of saying the F word. Cool, thanks for watching and Merry Christmas.